a praga do save, então vamos lá, né? Vamos lá. Eu caguei a praga do save. Eu caguei a praga do save. Então é o seguinte, agora a gente vai gravar mesmo até... Deixa eu ver aqui. A partir daqui a gente vai gravar do YouTube, a gente vai gravar até a parte... Cara, eu sei que vai ter a Bazette lá na frente, tá ligado? Pera aí. Deixa eu voltar bem aqui antes. Sei que a gente vai gravar... Eu tenho que ver aqui a área que a gente vai gravar, que é o capítulo 5, cara. Aí no capítulo 5 é que a gente vai gravar mesmo de vez, tá ligado? Porque aqui é o capítulo 4, aí a gente tem que ver qual é o capítulo 5. Vou ter que ver com calma aí. Mas eu acho que é bem que é o capítulo 5. Mas era certo, era certo. Bem, vamos lá, né? Tem muitas coisas pra nós ver de Fate. Hoje eu tô com preguiça de ver o Fate Strange, né? Já que o Fate Strange tá muito boa a história lá. Tô com preguiça hoje. Vamos embora. Vamos lá. Aí, vamos continuar a rota bem aqui, que é onde nós parou. Vamos lá.
New scenes outside. Alone.
Sozinho.
Oh, there are a bunch of new scenes. Let's check out the harbor.
O bom é que pelo menos o cara fez as rotas bonitinhas aqui, né? Isso é bom.
Naturally, there's no one at the harbor at night. I sure know one guy who would be enthusiastic enough to try night fishing, but even he seems to have retreated to his dwelling already.
Vocês estão conseguindo ouvir direito aqui, então? É, vocês estão conseguindo ouvir direito.
どっかの廃屋でキャンプしてるとか、空き家に忍び込んでるとか。
For a moment, an image comes to mind of a place that'd be much to his liking, but
いくらランサーでもそこまでは。
there's no telling what kind of traps might be in there. Who knows?
Apertei a praga do botão errado. Vai.
Way. Right now, there should be no one in the church. October's sea breeze is really cold. I'll go investigate somewhere else before I catch a chill. October 9th.
Aí começa outro dia.
That's an important scene, so let's avoid. Ah, there's a new scene at the Emia residence and a new scene with Lancer. At the harbor, there's a familiar face. Lancer can be found anywhere, but in the afternoon, this is where he devotes himself to his hobby. Well, what should I ask him about? Asking for cooperation.
Pedindo cooperação.
I'm not entirely seen.
É sério que o Shirou vai pedir cooperação na guerra, velho? Com a questão do lanceiro, pô. Aí o monte bugando na hora.
It as well be a statue. Ryder simply doesn't care as long as she can protect Sakura. Ilya is enjoying herself just sitting on the sidelines and watching. That means he is the only one left.
Oi, Lancer!
I wave and greet him. Complicated. I explain, though we've never met, I'm vaguely
O monte tá muito bugado, velho. Vou ter que atualizar ele qualquer dia.
aware of the 8th Master's appearance and fighting style. That the Lady Magus is part of the abnormality happening now. And since Saber and I are a poor match for her, perhaps I could borrow the support of another servant. Lancer doesn't turn around at all anymore.
Cara, literal. Vou skipar essa parte aqui, velho. Vou skipar. Bem aqui. Pelo menos que eu posso skipar aqui, né? Isso é bom.
Alone.
Alone.
Station front.
Cara, eu acho que quando ele for pra igreja ele vai ver a Karen, velho. O Shirou vai ver a Karen.
The sky is close. The tallest building in the city. Tonight, the rooftop is once again strikingly lit
Pô, mano, tu buga pra todo mundo do... Ah, sim.
by the strong
Eu é de boa, mas eu...
moonlight.
Pra todo mundo do YouTube.
I don't really have a reason for coming here. I'm not looking over the city. Instead, my eyes are always directed upward. The moon is close. The eclipsed shape of the moon somehow looks like a cup. Suddenly, I get the foolish notion that maybe I could reach it from here.
Olha o Angra
I
aparecendo
need
lá.
a rocket to go to the moon.
O Angra.
Either that or a nauseatingly long ladder. Without that, I wouldn't be able to get there.
戻ろう。一人で来てもしょうがない。
I leave behind the silver thread. This is where the empty sky is. Even with this taller tower, I cannot reach the beginning. October 10th. Let's check out the storage room. I loiter in the storehouse, surrounded by all the items I've picked up. It's nice and cool, and the scent of oil and rusted metal fills the air. I hear it doesn't sound
Parece
like
algo muito
sake.
normal que o Shirou faria.
Taking off
Porque a gente
the
pode
cover,
skipar
I
muita coisa
brush
aqui.
off the dust. Even with a service manual, this is far beyond my abilities. Furthermore, with appliances getting more and more modularized, it's getting very difficult for amateurs to even get inside them.
とりあえずよくローダーが壊れてそのままポイっていう。
Só um momento, bem aqui. Vambora nesse caramba.
Spreading out my tools, I line them up on the sheet. Another look. I feel a storm brewing. It's picking up. Rapid
Aí o
footsteps
monte buga pra quem tá assistindo.
I'm firmly on the ground.
Oxe, agora a Rin deu de invadir a casa do Shirou agora.
They're heading straight to the storehouse. My eyes tell me it's Tosaka, but in reality, it's a living typhoon of magical energy.
よ、父さんが。
I raise my hand to greet her.
A menina com raiva, velho.
I feel greatly endangered, as if seeing my parents' mortal enemy. What the heck happened? At this rate, next she'll fire a gun, and that would be the start of the Emiya.
Ah, eu acho que eu entendo. Foi por causa que o Shirou fez bagunça na casa dela. Não, eu lembro que o Shirou ele foi arrumar.
Then storehouse murder
Eu acho que... Eu não sei se as rotas anteriores contam com... É porque... Não sei se as rotas paralelas contam, não sei. Ah,
case.
sei lá se conta as rotas paralelas. É o quê? Ela... Oxi, como assim? Oxi, como assim?
どっちだ？母屋の方か？
Needless to say, this house is huge. The outer building and the main building both have a restroom.
É porque é o seguinte, casa de gente grande é assim mesmo, tá ligado? Tem casa de gente aí que eu conheço aí, de nego que eu conheço, a cara tá toda da rir, velho. De nego que eu conheço aí, a casa, tipo assim, tu andava na casa, tu não sabia nem onde é que era a cozinha. Quando tu andava só um pouquinho, tu já chegava na sala. Tu andava um pouquinho, tu chegava na cozinha. Irmão, eu ia no meio do mato e cagava, eu queria nem saber.
漏水か？まずいな。
There will be lots of damage if I leave plumbing problems unfixed. Let's go repair it. I have some gaskets here, so...
故障じゃないのか？
The way Tosaka's talking in monosyllables is disquieting. It's like looking at a dam on the brink of collapse.
だからあれ何なのよ、シロ。
あれ？もしかして。
Come to think of it, the Western-style bathroom in the outer building is the one that I took
Já de banheiro longe do cão, velho.
some effort to
Eu saía lá fora e cagava lá fora. Tem lugar. Mano, aqui tem lugar na cidade aqui, o pessoal fazia era cagar num saco e jogar na casa dos outros.
renovate.
É sério, pô, aqui acontecia muito, velho.
And while Tosaka was
Eu tô te falando, cara, acontecia demais aqui. O pessoal cagava do saco e jogava na casa dos outros, pô. Eu tô te falando. Aqui na frente de casa não tinha a vila, né? Era muito. Era só mato. Eu cansei de ver um monte de avião. Cansei de ver aqui, velho. Cansei de ver.
gone,
Um monte de avião voando.
there have been
Eu cansei de ver aqui, velho.
several new state-of-the-art home electric appliances introduced into our household.
もしかしてウォシュレットのことか。
なぜ私に黙っていたのよ。
Ah, the dam finally broke. I'm just standing here dumbfounded as a muddy stream of water surges towards me.
そういうものを入れたのなら、先に私に説明しなさい。芳香剤の類じゃないんだから。
おい
Retorno daqui.
忘れてたそれに俺あっち使わないから。
ならばなおさらに、もう心臓止まりそうにびっくりしたわよ。
So that's where the scream came from.
そうだよな。俺も最初に使ってみたときは食いしばったというか。ほど文明の利器というものは素晴らしいと。
Amazing! I'm surprised! Sakura also said it really was a surprise. Anyone who experiences it can't help but tell the tale.
誰もシローのインプレッションを聞かせろとは言
だったのか。
なかったわよ。ありえないわ。
Coitado aí, o Shirou aqui enrolando e podendo ter um banheiro na casa do Shirou e é doideira, tá ligado?
一体どこのどんな人種があんな紙一重なこと考えたっていうのよ。侮れないわね、今の騎士も。あの発想力、そして実行力。神か悪魔か、あるいは。
She's getting carried away with that comparison. Tosaka seems completely astonished. Still, her residence doesn't look like
A
it
coitada da Rin até agora no negócio do banheiro, velho.
is rather worried.
何恥ずかしいことをしれっと聞いてるのよ。密にして人を笑い物にしようって態度が気に入らないと。
No, I honestly regret it, ma'am. I definitely didn't mean it that way, but in the end, yeah, that's how it ended up coming out.
とにかくあれは便利なものだから満喫するといい。和式の母屋には残念ながら使えなくてな。
誰がお手洗いで心ゆくまで満喫するのよ。あれ、離れのお手洗いだけ？
I not. I've seen a Japanese-style bidet on the TV, but unfortunately, they stopped manufacturing those due to a variety of reasons.
そうなると他に誰が使ったの？
さくらとライダー。ライダーは
そっか。
Se eu consigo diminuir essa fonte aqui pra parar de bugar pra vocês aqui. Não, coloquei ideal. Praticamente coloquei ideal.
And so, the victim will definitely be the only girl who hasn't used it yet. Tragedy invites further tragedy. I have to break this chain of sorrow.
セイバーか。いいわね。楽しめそう。
やっぱり。父さんが待て、早まるな。
私は何も。だってエミヤくんだってこんなにお楽しみだったのに、私もご商売に預かれないなんてちょっと悔しいかなって。それに私はセイバーにあのボタンを押してみなさいと教えてあげるだけだしね。
In the end, it's a path smeared with blood. Tosaka yar when a few minutes later. Now that's not something you hear every day. Saber screamed. Sensing the approach of another storm, I have no choice but to brace myself for the coming typhoon.
Vamos lá, próxima
Okay.
rota.
There's a new scene with Tosaka in the Tosaka residence.
Cara, tô vendo que a Rin vai ser muito frequente, velho, nessa rota, velho. A Rin vai ser muito frequente nessa rota
After coming
aqui.
back from
Sem brincadeira, vai ser muito frequente ver a Rin nessa rota.
abroad, she said, "Come over to my house if you have some free time. It'd be a good idea
Inclusive o monstro tá mal bugadão, velho. Vou ter que atualizar ele amanhã.
to make
Isso aqui é por causa que eu não atualizei mais ele, por isso que ele tá assim, velho. Aí quando ele não atualiza direito, aí ele fica assim, dizendo assim, meio que dá desculpa, tá ligado?
appearance."
É tipo operadora de internet. Você não paga? Ah, vamos diminuir teus mega. Até uma hora tu paga.
So I walk into her house and
何やってるんだ。
ああ、シロ見てわからない？
Ela voltou pra casa dela. Não, e o Shirou que lavou a casa dela de graça.
it kinda looks like. Though because of
Pô, eu acho que o At, de vez em quando ele vai estar lá, o At lá.
the eerie form and how old it looks, it seems odd to use it for cooking. There's also a mountain of ingredients piled up.
それ食うのか。
Vai ser a rota inteira focada na Rin, velho, sem brincadeira.
Medicinal herbs? Then I guess they're edible. Ah, they could be applied directly to a wound. I've been
ああ、そうね。何
Tá bugadão, velho, um monte.
作るか言ってな。
Sem falar que é internet. Vou tirar o Discord. Um monte de coisa aberta aqui, já acho. Porque às vezes só internet
そうね
também.
これ煎じ薬にするの。
効能は需要競争とか美容回春とか。
作れたら副業にできるかもね。実際この家業で表の職業が薬屋って多いわよ。
Oh! When it wasn't possible back in the old days to distinguish between a magus, doctor, or faith healer, did they all just operate under the same kind of drugstore label? Still, for Tosaka to talk about a side business, she must be in quite a tight spot.
エミヤくん、何よその笑いは。
なんでもない。で、何に使うんだ。
エミヤくんには不要なものだろうけど、不詳の弟子にもしっかり教えてあげましょう。
With a nod, I listened to Tosaka.
魔術刻印を抑制するための薬よ。
なるほど。それは俺にはいらないな。
Magic crest. I don't have one, but Tosaka's the type that's passed down from one generation to the next. In the
刻印は成長すればなれるけど、結局他人の体だからね。
免疫抑制剤みたいなものか。
500年も600年も続いて血統操作しているような魔術師の一族ならともかくね。うちは族外の血は入るし、たかだか200年足らずの極東の家柄だから、こういうものに。
200 years. Just thinking about it makes me dizzy. The length of time from when I told Kiritsugu that I admired and wanted to be a magus until now seems like
Tem muita tradução errada, velho. Principalmente isso daqui de cima, velho. Eu coloquei tradução certa mesmo isso aqui, velho. Tem muita tradução errada aqui, velho. Tá em japonês, velho. Agora sim tá certo. Pronto, galera.
nothing
Pronto.
more
Era
than
erro do
leaf
monte.
side
Agora tá certo agora.
comparison.
Erro do
こういうのを
monte.
使えるっていうのも。
Olha, agora tá
父さん
certo.
がリプ
じゃあシロ、これお願い。
About as ancient as that pot. Who's
Era erro
this?
do monte, galera. Erro do
Tosaka
monte.
Toki Naga.
Negar?
線の貼ってあるところに作り方が書いてあるから、あとはよろしく。
待て父さんが。これはなんだ。
先祖代々の調合表よ。弟子のあなただから見せてあげる重要な我が家の。
Osaka unable to conceal my anxiety. Immunosuppressant to a heart transplant patient. There's a limit to how reckless you can be. Moreover, it's Tosaka who will be taking it.
書いてある通りに作れば大丈夫。私だって小学生の頃に泣く泣く仕込まれたんだし。
だから大丈夫だと。
これも修行の一環よ、エミヤくん。出るから。
It can't be helped if she puts it like that. She said she learned this while still in elementary school. I can't afford to lose now.
わかった。じゃあ挑戦してみる。
I unintentionally grow and just look suckers from that kind of era. I guess this old style of writing can't be helped if
私の代で一度
Eu
編集
queria muito que ela falasse, sabe do que? Era da relíquia que pode ver os outros mundos, velho. Aquela relíquia. Ela nunca mais falou. Ela só falou só no início do Ataraxia, velho.
I show her the page
E lá no Stay Night, depois eu nunca mais fiquei sabendo dessa relíquia.
with the tag on it. Wrong page. Tosaka hastily looks to where I'm
Ah, eu lembro que essa relíquia, a Rin sem querer ativou lá no castelo da ilha. Por isso que a ilha ficou futaça com ela, ela correu, tá ligado?
また間違ったかと思ったじゃない
if I say more. Alright, before Tosaka
Que isso?
is she really going to drink this?
Que
I peer into the
isso?
boiling witch's kettle before me. No, I can't even look. Just
Que
the smell is making my lunch
isso?
come
É a
out.
macumba! É a macumba!
Cautiously, I stretch out one
macumba.
arm and stir with a wooden spoon.
Então é assim que o pessoal faz macumba hoje em dia?
I was wrong to think a normal pot would be better. Furthermore, boiling this in the kitchen would have been even worse. No way in hell would I want to cook with a pot or in a...
そうか
I'd better sample it, just ask for the magus that has to take this.
そういえば藤根に青汁飲まされた
Gamble on fooling my senses by pinching my to a full glass of vegetable juice or a large serving of Daisansmap.
Fugaô, eu não sei o que é fugaô.
騒がしいわね何やってるのよ
My tongue, or rather, my whole mouth has been polluted. Is polluted an exaggeration? No, I can only think against those of all.
ああそれまずさは折り紙付きだから糖以上は邪道って思わないエミヤくん
せだろうこの味は
おかしいなそこまでひどくはないはず
Tosaka looks at the toxic stew.
上出来なんだ
I hope that she would deny that
当たり前じゃないコップ一杯震えてまるでエイリアンに襲われた研究員
the first pitiful victim for someone
Alien.
who cooks, having a whole glass of that, or a magus whose path is intertwined with death, having a glass or two of that. The difference in growth between Tosaka and myself.
いやだよな
Her disability, I'll gladly drink even this for the sake of my magus training.
あとは弱火で煮込み続けるだけねはいちょっと付き合いなさいあなたの魔術の進展を見せてもらおう
Talking about her student. But I only recently recalled my mad
ってもしかして
anxiety that washed over me.
もしかして私のいない間にサボりにサボり回ってたとか
努力を
そういうからには見せてもらいましょうか
It can't be helped if it's come to this. Time to get serious. There's no choice but to show her some improvement in my magic. The chat have to reinforce it. Tosaka's words were, since it's the ideal teaching material for you, I invoke
Mas tem que falar em alemão? O Shirou também tem que falar em alemão pra ele fazer a macumba?
reinforcement while Tosaka looks on. The same words as always. Invoke the illusion. Integrate. Trace on. I study the structure and form and dozens, even hundreds. Purpose, I pour my will.
できた
I wipe the sweat streaming down my forehead.
よっと
If it's thrown and flies like a real one, there's no way a plastic knife would stick. But now, it's as hard as steel, so it should easily sink into the... Can't stand to watch anymore. The knife bounced off would have been too weak.
下手になってないエミヤくん
それに比べればだいぶ
失敗の仕方らしいわね
She looks me over suspiciously from top to bottom.
分かったわやっぱりシロは一日早く面目も対面も立つ一人前じゃなく私まで恥をかきかねないわね
Hands are open, but for her to take the time to do this for me is something I really...
まったりで
もしかしてあの煎じ薬よりすごい味なのか
あらエミヤくんが使ってもいいっていうのなら いろいろコレクションが
If this will speed up my progress, then the pain is...
Enrolação pura. Eu passo pro outro.
Yeah.
Agora é de noite, ó.
Let's go out for a walk. Alone. Let's go check out the church.
Karen, não é possível que a Karen não vá... Ó o grau aí. Quer dizer, ó o Angra malha 1. Agora é o Angra. Não é possível que agora o Angra não apareça. Não é
Climbing
possível.
up a long hill road, I finally arrive at the church.
Não é possível que
It's
o
a
Angra
dark
agora não
night.
apareça.
Even though there isn't a
Ou a
single
Karen,
cloud,
né?
the moon is dark. The only light... There
Aí a
is the
Bazette?
ghost of a-
Vixe, parte 2 da luta. Mas o Shirou tá sozinho, cara. Mas o pior é que a Bazette ganha do Shirou. Ela ganha do
woman
Shirou. Ela ganha do Shirou porque ela sozinha ela ganha.
standing in the square. I'm reminded of a supernatural willow. I'm dreaming. Since when was I in a dream? This is the first time
Eu acho que ela tá sem um Angra, velho. Por isso que ela tá assim, velho.
have seen her. I have never met her before. The woman passes beside me as if nothing happened. After all, this is a dream. Even if I try, it will probably just vanish like a phantom when I catch up. Plus, these things are in the way.
Vixe, vixe, vixe.
I hear
Olha, ó.
the
Ah, o Shirou vai morrer, cara. Bad end, velho. O Shirou vai morrer sozinho de novo, cara.
chorus that I am so used
O Shirou vai morrer de novo nessa rota de novo.
to. Even
Morrendo direto pro Angra, velho.
though someone told me not to come here alone, I seem to have forgotten that warning. However, I am lucky this time. Lucky that this is just a dream. To my
Ah, eu não tô te
usual
falando, ele vai morrer de novo, cara.
ceiling.
É o Bad End aí, ó. Vai morrer de novo. Outro Bad End de novo,
Brutal
cara.
claws run through my liver, stomach, like a strawberry stuck with a fork. Legs. They pass through my joints, arriving at the face and neck. Neck. I no longer have a throat and cannot manage to scream, only the sound of air escaping. Help!
Ó a Karen aparecendo aí, velho.
Não.
Oxi, ela vai aparecer depois de muito tempo, velho.
Ah,
Então não foi o Angra que matou. Então não foi o Angra que matou o Shirou, foi a Karen, então.
brain slashed out. Because I am in so much pain, because the situation is so vexing, I want to take my frustration out on some stuffed animal. Stabbing the silly non-resistant toy with a kitchen knife, a slaughtering act that anyone can do, simple and tasteless. I feel sick with it, nauseous, now that I am playing the part of the stuffed animal. Oh, I'm alright. This is a dream. Now, as soon as this crunching incident ends, it will be as if it never happened.
Outro
Because
Bad
it will
End,
have
cara.
never
Outro
happened.
Bad End.
Because I will wake up in my next form.
Tá aí, ó. Bad End. Shirou morrendo em mais uma rota.
Well, let's restart. I'll go visit Ryder. She's probably reading as usual.
É agora que a gente vê as putaria de novo.
おいライダーって
Oh, great timing. Are you free right now? Just as I'm about to do, she walks by rapidly. Oh well, so much for that. Maybe I'll just drink some tea by myself.
はい本日の予約ですがいえ
I've run into Ryder since the teapot's still.
はい午後いつもご迷惑をおかけするとお伝えくださいでは3時からですね
Tea into the living room and offer some to Ryder.
ライダー電話
はい
I'm so surprised about, but the revelation does drive me into a temporary stupor. Well, Ryder is a woman in her prime after all. It's no surprise she'd go to a salon, but for a beauty like her to go to the same place in Myanmar frequented by Homurahara students,
美容院って
ですと自分一人で手入れするのも大変ですので週に2回ほどの周期で時間をかけてトリートメントをしてもらっているのです
ever waving smooth strands of hair. It would be so nice to run my hands through them. Just
もしかしてライダーの髪って伸びるのか？
いえ、伸びはしませんが、やはり乱れてきますから。それに
Ryder sips at her tea.
霊体になって実体化、
そうすればいいんじゃん。
髪程度の問題でさくらに負担をかけたくはありません。ですので本当に面倒ですが、髪の手入れは自分で解決しなくてはなりません。正直乱れたままだと私も機嫌が悪くなりますから。
そっか。いろいろ大変なんだな、女の人。
シロ、気にかけるのでしたら私よりもさくらを優先してください。私は彼女のサーバントに過ぎませんから。さくらはあなたに気遣いされ嬉しい。
そうか。頑張る。
ええ、シロには戦いより難しいでしょうが。
That's something
スカウトしてたな。遠坂あたりはどうなんだろう。あいつも美容室に行ってるのかな。
彼女には余計なお世話だと思います。
That was quick.
誤解なきように。リンは努力を表さない性格です。美容の
なるほど。
A swan's feet is what they say. As for the remaining members,
ですね。私が行けと言えば喧嘩になりますが、シロが言えば忠告と取るでしょう。
it is indeed quite difficult to predict how it would unfold. She would probably say something along the lines of, I like this hairstyle.
はどうかな。
Really, what would that be like?
喜ぶかもしれませんよ。
はい。
ですから嫌いではないようですし、シロが美容室に行きたいと言えば二つ返事で同行するのではないでしょうか。
Wait, doesn't that imply that I would be the one?
で、ライダーはこれから？
美容室は午後からです。それまでのんびりしています。
And so she proceeds,
Muita enrolação, bicho.
伝説の
having that mean
Muita enrolação, bicho, pelo amor de Deus.
not reflect the mystic eyes. He merely made
だとなんで鏡が苦手なんてわけでもないんだし。
女神の確かに鏡なのですから。
it looks like there are some plot holes in the mythology.
シロ、どうしても聞きたいですか？
いや、どうし
Eu falei pra vocês que o Shirou ele tava dando em cima de gente braba, e ele tá dando
て
mesmo.
もって言われる。
Porque a mina aqui, no início não queria pegar o Shirou, mas hoje tá tão pegadazinha.
Riders fall. I feel as if I shouldn't insist on it.
聞かせてほしいです。
ですが、シロが聞きたいというのであれば、成長しきった後、今の私とは違うこの話。
And oppressive. I'm not sure if Ryder quietly begins the story of her if that is foregone. The soon-to-be king of this said this at a banquet. The warrior most favored
Quem
by
manja,
the gods in the
quem
Greek
manja de mitologia grega aí vai se reconhecer, né? Um pouquinho, né?
Perseus, the son of Zeus, the king of the gods. On the day of the banquet, to prove his bravery and save his mother, he vowed to defeat the monster. The faraway, solitary island was one of the places, a hideous monster lurking at the end of the world. According to the rumors, it resided in the Titan's ruins, a place resembling the cunning evil of the Sirens and the chaotic disorder of the Chimeras. Once a glorious palace of the gods, there was not a trace of its former found elsewhere. The name of that sacred place was the Shapeless Isle. A place not even birds visit, a pair of winged sandals so he could fly through the air, a helmet that granted invisibility to its wearer. In the monster's head,
Pra quem vai manjar de mitologia grega vai entender, hein?
no warrior in the history of Greece had ever been given this many noble phantasms. Perseus equipped himself to win and gathered much information to aid him. A wealth of trustworthy weapons, the foe nor ever set foot in the demon's lair, he had not a speck of fear. Until the day of the battle. until the moment he descended to that dark palace. The island was drastically different from what all living things melted away. A hell that did not permit the very existence of life, a dark palace stained with blood, had already come and he had fallen into the afterlife. Although favored by the gods, Perseus, who had yet to prove himself, Perseus ran deeper into the palace as if he were escaping. His dreams of slaying the monster gloriously. He only wanted one thing: find the monster, take its head, and escape from the island. And his feet were slowly on defeat. The foolish challenger would perish as the monster slept quietly
Muriçoca me comer.
inside the palace. In his throat, Perseus hid in the shadows as he advanced. The palace was enormous. No, it was excessively huge. Seemingly enchanted, it had no beginning and no end. This terrifying palace only grew grand. It was just that Perseus, shivering and alone, was like a tiny insect to its inhabitant. And so, a few minutes, no, hours later, the mirrored shield warned Perseus. The shield reflected the surroundings on its mirror-like surface. A detector of sorts, the shield shows the dark palace's laid by monster fast approaching. Darkness. Yet one cannot stare at it but the shield until the very end. It was already too late through the air and issue think about the legend was off. But the shield showed only 2 heartbeats, his terrifying snake prince's 2 sisters. A gigantic something came, pulverizing the forest of stone statues in its way.
Eu sei que é Ride, né? O jeito que a Medusa fala a história dela, mas, pô, parece muito a visão de um caster, velho. Igualzinho.
Perseus threw a volley of curses.
O Perseu, ele tá na história do Fate, na questão do... É o Fate, Grade, Odem, Fate, Gord, Perseu. Ele tá na história, tá? Tá realmente na história. Parece até mentira, mas ele tá realmente. Quer dizer, pelo que eu tô vendo aqui, ele não tá no Fate War, mas ele é mencionado, né? Eu tô vendo aqui, ele é mencionado.
You damn gods, what use is this glory you promised me? There was no victory to be found in this fight from the beginning. On this impossible mission, the cleverest of noble phantasms were nothing but life-saving equipment at best. It was not unlike a
A Medusa naquela época parecia uma criatura Lovecraftiana, velho.
ship caught in a storm, being toyed with by the raging waves to defeat the enemy. A battle of attrition. Come one through his victory here had no means to destroy the Gorgon. Perseus, who still possesses the nature of a human. The only way he could continue to avoid fatal hits using his winged sandals, escaping the petrifying glares and dodging the blows from the monstrous arms. But that was all he could do. It was no more than a mere nuisance. Finally, having enough of the fighting, it opened up its own palace. Breaker Gorgon, self-sealed blood fort that enveloped.
Parece muito com aquela referência Virginia. É Virginia. Eu sei que é lá do Ito Junji Collection. Das obras de Ito Junji, é Virginia. É, parece um pouco uma referência ao Casulo também, né?
The shapeless eye. Just as the blood fort enveloped the world, the temple of darkness sealed it. The person caught inside would have his consciousness imprisoned within the mind of the Gorgon and would be rid of any abilities he might have had in the outside world. The Temple of Darkness, unlike the mystic eyes, only needed a steady supply of magical energy from the Gorgon to draw one in. Perseus hitting on the fight could and Kibisis, the bag that is said to have carried Medusa's head. The concepts of the world inverted. The inside wasn't the bag's contents, but, in fact, the outside. The Gorgon who was outside the bag. The monster's movement stopped. Trapped in the Temple of Darkness created by itself, startled by a nightmare of its inner wounds, the Gorgon suffered as Medusa. A nightmare beyond all nightmares. The monster despaired at the reflection in the mirror. And then and there, subverting harpe sliced through the neck of the completely paralyzed own heart and, as if waking up from a dream, was struck down all too quickly.
何分昔の
Até que a
話
história dela não é ruim, não. Mas eu acho que eles colocaram um pouco de ficção aqui. E eu não acho que foi tudo isso aqui, não. Eu digo porque é o seguinte. Eu digo pra vocês aqui com sinceridade. Eu conheço mais a história da mitologia nórdica do que da mitologia grega. Eu não sei não, mas eu conheço um pouco da história da Medusa. Eu acho que eles colocaram um pouco de ficção aqui, velho. Não sei não, hein.
し
Eu digo isso até na questão do Lovecraftiano também, a questão da Medusa também. Eles colocaram um pouco de ficção aqui.
かか
Just recited the story.
そっかメドゥーサ討伐
あれ以来自分の姿を見ることが
けど精神的によろ
加えてその後あんな若造にはこの上なく腹立たしい
She mutters about having an unusually emotional choice of words for
ライダーの話じゃそいつも犠牲者とも
ええそうですね彼も神々に乗せられた一人でしょ
Afinal, ele era apenas um mosquito naquela época.
う何しろあの時点の彼は私にとって家庭ほどのものではないのですが
ですが
個人的にどうしても好きになれませんそれでもです
どんなやつだったんだペルセウスって
そうですね彼がどんな
this image from the depths of her memories. And not long after, she raises her head, seemingly surprised at the answer she came up with herself.
一言で言って成功した神事です
Oh boy.
実に気に食わないこれというのもあのキビシさえなかったら
Having had the barrier turned inside out by Temple of Darkness is said to... However, I wonder what kind of a vision was it that left her with a trauma this deep?
何を見たんだライダー話したくもないよな変なこと
Vou deixar por aqui mesmo. A gente vai ficar no 80, né? Tá aí, no 81. Vou deixar por aqui mesmo. A gente tá chegando perto lá do... Tá um pouquinho longe, na verdade. Mas era certo. Bom, vou deixar por aqui mesmo. E é isso.